Hey, what's up, guys? It's Orlando from Wildfire Leather, and today you're going to watch me make a very special piece. So, about a month, maybe 2 months ago now, I had a customer reach out to me via email asking if I can make them a Yosemite Vertical wallet out of some Natural Horween Shell Cordovan. And as you can see here, we got a shell ordered. I think this was like your medium-sized one, and it's coming in around 3 to 4 ounce leather, a little bit over 4 ounce. So this is a thick boy, but it's coming out really great. So what I did is that I cut out my template in some cardstock just so I could make the best use of this shell and not have, much throwaways or much scraps. But I got the ink stamp centered right in the center, and you'll see towards the end that it almost came out perfectly. But this is all being cut on the Glowforge via laser. So I like to use the masking tape just to not have some of that char on the presentable side of the piece. So yeah, that's the reason why I use the masking tapes. I've seen some makers use it and other makers have not. So I won't show you how I cut everything out, but here I'm scribing down the T-slots. I'm using a Palo Santo. I think this is a 12mm skiving knife. I like to use a ruler just to get me those nice clean lines to begin with, and then I'll do several passes just to make sure that I get it down to the thickness that I like. So this is probably the longest video that I've made in a while, so please hang on tight, watch the video throughout. If you have any questions on the process and the tools that I make, please leave a comment down below. I'd like to help you out, and if you're new to the craft, let me know and I'll try to give some tips and advice. So next, the laser didn't actually cut out the stitching holes, but just the large pieces themselves. The only thing the laser did here is just kind of slightly etch the circles of the stitching holes, but now I'm using the Cinnabrooks hole punches to punch them out. I preferably like to use the 6mm spacing and the 1.5mm punching holes. Alright, so everything is cut out, skived down, and the hole punches are done. So moving on to the next step. So the other ask that the customer asked here was not to use my primary logo, which is the wording of Wildfire Leather Co., handmade in LA, but instead he asked that we use our small eagle stamp on the bottom right hand corner of the pocket. So here it is. This is hot stamped using the Dream Factory hot stamping machine, and these brass templates, I get them from leatherstampmaker.com. So I'm using a Palo Santo tool here to bevel the edges, and now I'm going to hand burnish them with some toconol and a cloth, and then I'll also use the wood burnisher here as well. And with the Shell Cordovan, this one's glazed, I believe, if I remember, but I'm actually scuffing the sides where the pockets are going to be glued. This is definitely going to help the glue adhere the pieces together. If you don't do the step, the glue will still adhere, but it might come unloose when you start stitching and adding some pressure there because of the thread. So for that reason, I like to go ahead and just kind of scuff up the edges to make sure that the glue adheres nicely and well. So lining up to T-slots, I'm going to actually go ahead and sew those off camera. So you see here, I'm using this roller just to kind of add some pressure and just to get that thread a little bit more flat. That way it doesn't create like a bulge once I add the final pocket on the outside. So gluing the final pockets here on the outside, and then there's going to be an inside stitch. And look at the color of this natural shell cordovan. You kind of see in the center of that pocket like the different shades darker. Just based on the lighting, it looks even, but then it doesn't look even. Is that something you like, that natural variation that you see? Let me know if you like that or not, or do you like those natural variations, or do you just want it to be a solid color even and throughout, which you do find across some shell cordovan pieces and some leather hides. But I think those unique touches really make each piece very unique to themselves. All right, so these are sewn. I'm going to go ahead and sand those edges. I did that off camera. I don't want to make this video even longer than it is, but now I'm gluing the whole piece together. This is almost done. I hand saddle stitch everything by hand, needle and thread, as you can see, and especially on those where the pockets meet and end, I like to add a lot of reinforcement by back stitching about 3 holes back, which is what you see that I'm doing there. And this piece is almost done. Now comes the fun part, which is just sanding and sanding and sanding. I don't specifically get very high gloss mirror finishes on the edges, but I like to do get some nice edges, just, you know, presentable, and for the price of the good, you know, I want this to be very presentable and kind of high class, so to speak. So I'm using some Tokonol, and I use some Febbings dye here to dye the edges. So I don't show the whole process here on the video, but I do sand them down maybe once or twice with 600 and 800 grit sandpaper until I get a nice even surface. And then just some more Tokonol and that cotton cloth, and there we go. So I saw this other maker use the Saphir product on their shell cordovan pieces, and I decided to pick it up myself. This is like a natural mirror gloss finish. Of course, I didn't get the piece completely mirror gloss like you're buffing out dress shoes, but I did decide to use it just to kind of give it that last finishing touch on the outside of the piece and inside. And pretty much it. This is it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions on what I've used or what you've seen, leave a comment down below and I'll make sure to get back to you as soon as I can. But I love how this piece came out. As you can see, I pretty much got that Horween stamp there dead in the center, and the customer loved this piece, and this has to be in my top 3 pieces that I've made so far this year. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.